In my most recent post, I made an argument for the hyperinflation that we see in college tuition. Hyperinflation meaning that tuition has been rising probably for the last 20 or 30 years faster than the rate of inflation, and we attributed that to Baumol's cost disease. Let me briefly explain that. Baumol's cost disease, the original example was symphony orchestras, and the idea is the symphony orchestra pretty much performs the same way now as it did 300 years ago. There hasn't been improvement in productivity in performing a symphony, and there has been improvement in productivity in many other sectors of the economy, and as a consequence, the people who play in the symphony orchestra are going to, or the people who are listening to a symphony orchestra are going to see a relative price increase in that compared to the other services of the economy, because that hasn't experienced a productivity increase. Same story for higher ed. Higher ed, the way we teach classes, pretty much the same as it was several hundred years ago. Absent the productivity increase, there's going to be a relative cost increase to other services, and that partly explains the hyperinflation. The other argument for hyperinflation is that there is chronic excess demand. Excess demand drives prices up, and if excess demand is not alleviated, then prices will continue to rise. I didn't put that in the argument in the last post, but we should consider that argument as well. The way economists say that excess demand is mitigated is either existing suppliers supply more, or there's entry. New suppliers come in. In the higher ed market, there have been a few new entrants. One of them that you may not have heard of is Olin College of Engineering in Boston. It's a very ritzy elite school designed to compete with MIT. Same type of students, and I think it started in the late 90s. So we've had a bit of new entry, but the argument is there are so many people who would like to go to the elite schools who are not going there, they can't get in, that is where the excess demand is coming from. And the equilibrating market, the equilibrating mechanism in some sense is the student credentials and qualifications, so that adjusts to bring the actual number of seats available to how many people get admitted. So the point is there will be people who will be willing to pay the very high tuitions and even higher tuitions who don't have the credentials, and so can't get in that way, but from a price point of view would be willing to pay it. That's what's driving the hyperinflation, is the argument.